and try and force them away as well, as we are going to see Jace and Kayle getting involved. Snoopy down to below half HP. Kayle was forced back away from that one, so some very... not even hands-on, it's more of just taunting each other going in there as Jace and Darius are going to join in there. Darius? Draven is what I'm trying to say, getting in there as well. Those Ds catching me out from Dragonborns. But in the end, you know, they've managed to take that buff, which is going to be the important thing. Yeah, they stole the buff away, and, you know, we say stole, they equalized the buff. Let's put it that way, because his own red buff was taken. If we have a look at the CS-wise, Draven a little bit ahead. I mean, it's tiny, right? So you can't really equate gains and losses right now. They simply made even what was taken from them. So good play from Dragonborns. They reacted very well, which was impressive to see. You know, they invaded the jungle. You've seen the bottom lane moving up, maybe a tiny bit late. If the bottom lane had been there a bit earlier, they could have saved more pots, done that a little bit quicker. But nevertheless, it's good coordination, it's good calling, and it's concise, planned team effort from Dragonborns. It makes me, you know, think very highly of them at this early stage in the game already. Yeah, and one thing that Dragonborns have certainly got in this bottom lane is aggression. Leona to get right in there, then Draven just to absolutely hammer away on them the whole time, and that's something that is going to force EG to be that little bit more defensive down on this bottom side. Obviously, Crepo is just hit level 2. We know Sona is very, very squishy. If she gets caught out by this Leona, could spell some real danger. Huge damage there with the spinning axe and just one auto attack. Crepo only has, what, 6 bars of life, and he loses a full chunk from a single auto attack. If he does get stunned up at all, 2 or 3 auto attacks and, you know, the exhaust, etc., is going to be enough time for him to chunk him down. Crepo has returned to lane already with that regrowth pendant, and he's going to be allowing that health regen over time to really make dividends. As Snoopy's trying to sniff something out, but Spontex under the tower, don't really think he's dive worthy right now. No, and Wicked knows that he has to be careful there, as I said in the pre-game, and forget that because they're actually diving in towards this bottom lane. Yeah, every single time they deal damage and the Crepo is forced back, you can see that spinning axe, the passive. Oh, up in the top lane though, Spontex forced to go, and it does get jumped on. Ignite is not available, heals out there, and he manages to survive. And look at that, you see how low Wicked has gone from it. That was a real dangerous situation for them. That Shen coming across, really helping out. Spontex was feeling safe in his position there, as Wicked is currently recalling. Luno's going to come through. Wicked will get away safely from that one. And, I mean, if Shen had been able to spot him in time there, that Shadow Dash probably would have spelled the end for him. Yeah, for sure. Interesting, both Flash and Ignites are available here. I mean, Spontex burned his earlier, but Cho did Flash to get to safety a moment ago. No Ignite from Wicked. The Fortitude pot was drank by Spontex. That was where that HP burst came from, and I was wondering where on earth the heal came from, and I was just looking at his items. So with the Fortitude pot down, he's got no advantage in the early game. It was literally just there as a life-saving effort, but it did save his life. It prevented him giving up first blood. And look at his itemizations, 2 cloth armors to return to lane, really feeling the pressure of Wicked Renekton. Yep, and we'll see how he can deal with that one. His flash will be coming back up, though, in a little while, which is something that he burned very early on. Here you see in the middle, Shushay and Frog on that. We've not actually really looked at this lane up until now, because it's been busy all over everywhere else on the map, but this lane could be a really interesting one. You know, Froggen, known as one of the best in the world. Shushay, he was known as one of the best in the world before. Then he, you know, got dropped from Fnatic, and everyone was saying, well, he's past his sell-by date here. But Shushay, in the qualifiers, the whole meta change that's allowed for a bit more versatility in this middle lane, I think has really helped Shushay out. Yeah, it's so true, because now that we see a little bit more non-standard champions being played in that middle lane, it's almost allowed Shushay to come back into it by playing, you know, champions like Jace, champions like Vi. A few months ago, he was also playing a lot of Eve mid, even after she took some nerfs, etc. You know, he's playing slightly different champs, and it's just working into his favor, especially being a very aggressive player. It was one of the problems in Season 2, you know, in the early stages. He dives often. He pushes beyond the safety lines, and that was ended up costing him a lot of deaths, because the game was a lot slower back then. Now that it's much faster, it just fits his playstyle, it fits his aggressive nature, and, you know, he's doing well, and they're holding their own. He is a little bit behind on CS, but nothing really notable right now. Yeah, we can take a quick look at the CS, actually. 49-31 in this top lane. Good lead so far from Wicked. We saw him doing brilliantly in the farm last week as well. Middle lane, 56-45. Not a superb difference there either. In this bottom lane, it's going the other way. It's really the only place, to be honest, where it's really working out in terms of the farm for Dragonborns, and that's 50-35. You can see there in that top lane, Wicked certainly not lying to me at dinner when he said his practice being that little bit more aggressive.
And hasn't been afraid at all. We've seen Maluno, he was up in the top lane a few moments ago, sniffing for a gank, trying to set something up. But, you know, with not a lot of damage on Spontex, he doesn't have any additional ability power or attack damage right now. It's going to be difficult to kill a Renekton. Shen, not really well known for being, you know, a super high damage ganker. They're going to have some crowd control, but, you know, wisely, Maluno backed away. He's going to wait for Spontex to get some more items before he decides to go aggressive. Or maybe even ask for, you know, some help from Shushe with his teleports.
Yeah, we've not really touched on that, but obviously the teleport for these mid laners has been a critical thing in the past. The question is, can you use it enough early game to get your lane snowballing? That's one thing that it's there for at the end. We can see in gold now, it's pretty much even. It's switching between, it must be like around about 150 to 200 gold right now, as we are seeing once again Maluno coming into this top lane. Wicked maybe in a spot of bother here. He does, however, have his flash still available. He's obviously up to level 7, so he has that ultimate to give him that extra survivability. The question is, will Maluno even realize that Wicked's still there? He'd gone away back towards his golems, and Wicked says, well, I'm just getting straight out of there.
Yeah, just getting to safety, making sure he's not overextended. The lane is now pushing in his favor as well, so he can now make Spontex overextend. And my thinking, or the thought process probably there is just, let's see if we can make Spontex step a little bit past that river safety point, make him come onto our side of the map and allow Snoopy to set up a gank. We're approaching the 10-minute mark, and there hasn't been anything too exciting right now in terms of the ganks or the lane pressure. You know, one very early gank from EG, but both teams playing relatively passively, and you just get the feeling that they're actually feeling one another out. They're just seeing how are they playing this, what do they want to do, and where can we go with it. But Hosan's Draven now a 30 CS lead in this bottom lane. It is a significant difference at this stage in the matchup.
Yeah, and he's got, you know, to counter that whole sustain that you have with a Sona in the opposition, he's gone straight in towards that vamp set. So he's getting plenty of health back here just from attacking those minions. We can see in the top lane, Akali picking up the Seeker's Arm Guard, obviously a new item coming in there. Actually a perfect one in this scenario as well, giving you the armor, giving you that AP as well.
And it works against every single champion on the other side. You know, Kayle, and you know, auto attack reliant. Keep in mind there's a lot of magic damage, but there's a lot of auto attack damage. Renekton, Varus, all auto attackers. Even Cho'Gath, if he can get in range, you know, those feral spikes, he's focusing around the auto attack. So it's a smart pickup, smart item, but he's very far behind. 30 CS, he does have a massive creep wave, so we'll see how good his mechanical skill is and how well he can farm with the pressure of Wicked here. But, you know, Dragonborn's just falling a little bit behind in this middle and this top lane.
But we still, 10.5 minutes in, don't have a first blood just yet. As you said, about a 500 gold difference currently for EG. Maluno not been too impressed with him so far. He's actually been quite a lot in that top lane, but not really been able to do anything with himself in that top lane. Bottom lane for EG, you know, they knew that they were in they had dangerous opposition in the form of that Leona who's going to get in there, use those brilliant crowd control effects that she has to really lock down a kill for this Draven. But so far, you know, Yellowpea and Crepo played this one textbook.
And the mechanical skills from Hosan are so good here. I've been watching him catching these spinning axes the entire time we've been in this bottom lane. And we do see Crepo does get caught. A beautiful stun comes out. He's going to get caught up.
Yeah, they're going to go in on towards Hosan. There is the Stand United coming down. And this could end in nothing once again as both teams went pretty much all in. Ultis popped all over the place. Actually, the crescendo from Crepo was saved there, I think, to maybe lock down one Snoopy had got there. See Maluno still on this bottom side around by the golems. Has to be a little bit careful himself there that he doesn't get too aggressive. But again, you've got Hosan, who the little bit of damage that he did take has already taken back thanks to that Vamp Scepter, and they're just going to keep pressuring here.
Yeah, huge creep wave once again. So Yellowpea forced to farm under the tower. That solar flare from Crepo, from Moveit was very powerful. It just zoned out the Evil Geniuses players, prevented them committing, because if they did, they were getting it stunned up, and it just bought Maluno the full time to get the channel and Stand United. Maluno's been sniffing around these double golems for a little while now and just poking, keeping Snoopy at bay. But, you know, Dragonborns, they're holding their own. They're going toe-to-toe. They started that engagement on the bottom lane, but, you know, unfortunately weren't able to convert it to a kill.
Let's have a quick look through then what we've got in terms of items in the last couple of moments. There's a Hex Drinker finished up there by Wicked. Pretty standard to what you'd expect there in the top lane against an AP-based champion. What else have we got? Boots of Mobility on Cho'Gath there for Snoopy. The tier finish for Jace, obviously spamming like mad there as we see Froggen use his ultimate there on himself. Obviously he's very worried still about what Xushi can do with that single Doran's Blade in for the damage.
Yeah, playing very interesting. He actually used Reckoning there to pick up a last hit. I don't know if that was a misclick or if that was intentional, but using his spells just to farm. Wicked has overextended a tiny bit, but it doesn't look like Spontex wants to pick this fight right now. Maluno level 7 to the level 10 of Wicked. He's literally just going to walk away. With Renekton's ultimate and with Hex Drinker, the damage shield and the health that he's going to gain, I don't think Spontex will ever be able to 1v1 kill Wicked, because it's just going to be so hard to get through, the 500 extra HP or shield damage that he needs to get through.
Yeah, but I think that's the beauty of it as well in that comp, that they can have Shen come straight in on top of him, try and get Wicked to really commit to taking that Akali out, and then call his bluff by coming in there. We do have Brutalizer now done there for Jace, as we are going to see the ultimate coming out in that bottom lane just for that extra little bit of farm for Draven, as he is actually working himself back. Snoopy now in this middle lane, and they are going to be working in towards this tower. We talk about how the metagame has kind of shifted to these very early aggressive pushes to getting towers down quickly. We've not got a first kill yet at 13 minutes, 50 seconds in. There's no towers gone down. The gold's still very, very even. This is a super close match. I'm
going to be very interested to see how these first couple of team fights match up, because there's such a weird matchup. You see Froggen going very low from Xuxi's poke there. There's not a lot of ability power on Froggen just yet, so he'll start hitting a little bit harder as he starts working towards some more AP items. But you've got a very AoE CC focus from Evil Geniuses, the Rupture, the Feral Scream, Chain of Corruption, Crescendo. On the other side, you've only really got Leona for large-scale AoE CC, and then the Taunt from Maluno, which is very situational and very dependent. So Dragonborn's maybe trying to play a bit of a poke game, get somebody low, then all in onto one champion and try to roll over, 5 versus 4. If they get collapsed upon, if they get caught out by the Chain of Corruption and Crescendo, I think the amount of time that it's going to buy Renekton's, ultimate and those Righteous Fury, the AoE splash damage from Kayle, it's going to shred that very, very squishy lineup's HP bars.
And we have to look at the CS here once again, because this bottom lane is getting a little bit dangerous for Yellow Pete. They're 136 to 95, so he's got a nice 40 CS lead here. It's not often that we'll say that against someone who's playing against Yellow Pete in this bottom lane, as we are going to be seeing Maluno here coming on towards Wicked. This could very well be first blood.
Oh, it does manage to flash to safety after using the Slice and Dice. And talking about those CS numbers, the CS that Yellow Pete is missing has been picked up by Crepo. So, he's managed to earn himself a good amount of gold, at least ensuring that doesn't get lost to tower or to other minions. And we'll see how that's going to help Crepo in terms of the support versus support, because he is very, very squishy. He's got a Doran's shield just to help take the damage from Draven in these early exchanges, and it's going to help him out, especially against the Shock Blast combos of Jace as well.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to see that support player taking that CS. If it's going to go to waste, obviously you're going to take it, but even if he's taking some that probably Yellow Pete would want it to have himself, I don't think it's a bad thing. And Spontex here going to get engaged upon, but Wicked will back away.
And we see down in the bottom lane, the Chain of Corruption comes out of Crescendo's locked them down. Yellow Pete's low. The Stand United comes up from Hosan, as now Crepo's forced out of the fight. Shen, actually no, that was Barrier. Now we see Yellow Pete flashes forward, throws out those hail of arrows, picks up a kill. Up in the top lane, Wicked's managed to secure one as well. Xushi forced to use that teleport in this bottom lane. He's going to at least even it out now. It's 2-1 as Crepo's trying to get to safety. Maluno will be able to pick up this kill with the help of the turret. 2 for 2 at the end of the day. But, Hosan with this massive CS advantage and even the item advantage wasn't actually able to win out that trade.
Yeah, and I think he got a little bit too clever for himself there, actually. I mean, it was a great move in the end for Yellow Pete to get his E off and pop Hosan down. I mean, he would have got away if that hadn't happened. We can see in the meantime, while that's all gone down, EG have pushed their first turret in this top lane down. Middle turret has gone down as well. The problem that Froggen now has is that the entire Dragonborn team is going to try and close in. He's headed up north towards the safety of Cho'Gath and Renekton. We'll see how Dragonborns can really switch around and react to this one.
It does look like they're just going to decide to back off. They didn't really have the ultimates to pick that particular fight, so wisely they start to back back away and play it safe. They got a dragon, at least, so, you know, they trade 2 kills for 2. They lost their both middle and top towers, and other than that bottom lane, they haven't put too much damage on, you know, the Evil Genius's towers. So EG are going to be happy with that trade. Even though they gave up the Drake, they've now got such a huge amount of map control in that top area of the map. If they do decide to go aggressive, if they decide to, you know, push quite heavily, etc. And Yellow Pete, if you take a look at the way he's maxing his champion, 5 points into Hail of Arrows and then 3 into that Blighted Quiver. So no points into his Piercing Arrow just yet. And it's just interesting to note how these players skill their champs.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. It's always good to see, to watch Varus because of that blight stacking up there. And you saw the flash to get his E off to finish that kill there was pretty impressive stuff, to be honest. But as you said, leaves us 2-2 on kills. But EG, that middle outer turret, even if that was the only thing that they've got in response to losing that dragon, they would have been happy. But taking the top outer turret as well is a great pickup for them. I think they did decent damage to the top inner turret as well, if I'm not totally mistaken. Yeah, it's below half HP already. So overall, great stuff coming out of EG. We've got Wicked actually invading in towards their jungle now, as he's going to walk straight into Maluno, and he's got Shushe off to the side. Wicked needs to be very careful from this. Froggen actually coming in will put the ultimate down onto him, and I'm not sure that Jace will be able to chase up for a kill. No, he's going to back off.
Shushe's little knockback did push him a little bit to safety. Snoopy now tries to put some pressure on this bottom lane, but Hossein is just going to be able to get that little movement speed boost and just sidestep the rupture, so no real danger there. He's got that Bloodthirster, which is starting to be stacked up. It is actually at full stacks already, and the bottom lane tower, you can see the HP at the bottom left there. It's not going to be long before Evil Geniuses lose that tower, and we're going to start seeing these team engagements. We're going to start seeing these 3v3, 4v4, 5v5s, and Dragon Lords need to win them. They're a little bit behind in gold, and I think their straight up 5v5 potential might be a little bit weaker than that of Evil Geniuses. So these first couple of team fights are going to be very important for them.
It's going to depend a lot, obviously, on who can land those spells. I mean, Snoopy coming in with a Rupture, if that misses, that's one large amount of AoE CC out of the equation completely. So, going to be interesting to see, once they do start to stack up for those kind of things, who comes out on top. As we see Yellow Pete here being gifted that red buff by Snoopy, and they are headed again down towards this bottom lane. The tower still alive, only hanging on by the skin of its teeth for now, though. And Dragonborns, to be honest, from Draven probably only need 2 hits to take it.
I imagine you know, EG want to slow down this tower being taken. They want to give Yellow Pete more time to farm himself back up. He is behind. He does have a kill to the 2 assists of Hossein, but, you know, 40 CS is a noticeable difference. And I think they're just trying to, you know, get him back into this matchup before they're comfortable pushing fights. And we know Evil Geniuses can do that. They can stall until that they want to pick a fight. All of this slowing down of pace, though, means Maluno's starting to fall a little bit behind in his farming. A few moments ago it was a slightly higher number. It was around about 20 CS, and he's starting to pick it up as he's in the jungle right now. But the amount of pressure they're putting onto him as he gets jumped in the middle lane.
This is bad for Maluno. He's going to go down there. And you see the power that can come out of that Renekton with Froggen hammering away from that backside. They're now going to make their way off from that, as the Draven ultimate did come across to try and do some damage, but just a little bit too little, too late. That will give EG the kill advantage, and they may try and squeeze in for a 3-man gank on this bottom lane, but that would be countered. Leona's there. Shushe is waiting inside of the brush, which they've now just seen since he threw his Q through the acceleration gate. There's the Rupture just to force him to back off, and that will be it for now. As I say, that Froggen and Spontex going head-to-head here in the middle. We can see that Froggen did actually use his ultimate. Spontex is not finished here. He's going to dive in there. He can't quite get him for that last charge, and that will be a flash away. Froggen survives.
The flash away, so powerful. Got him away from Spontex's Crescent Slash, his E, and I think if that damage had hit, it may have just been enough to pick up the kill. I'm taking a look. 5 ranks into the Crescent Slash, it would have hit for around 220, 230 damage, and I think that would have been enough to kill Froggen. So, an amazing flash. There's literally no other word to describe it. The very millisecond it needed to land, got him out of range, got him to safety, and he survived. But that does bode well for Dragonborns. You know, Spontex fell behind in lane, was under a lot of pressure for very early, and at least you can see he can still go toe-to-toe with Froggen in these 1v1 situations.
So let's take a look now after a couple of crazy minutes. How things are looking now in the grand scheme. 3-0 in turrets. All the outer turrets now down. I'll tell a lie. There's a bottom one still there. In the middle, the top is the inner turret that went down in that top lane, which, you know, all credit to Wicked again. He's doing a fantastic job with this Renekton, actually going in again on towards Maluno, forcing him away. Got that Sunfire Cape built up after the Hex Drinker earlier on. In terms of other items, we've got the Aegis of the Legion now finished there for Snoopy, Locket of the Iron Solari for Shen. The AD carries, Bloodthirsters for them both, but we see that Hosan with that extra BF sword in there. Azeel just being picked up there by Yellow Pete on Varus. The mid lane, we've got that Gunzo's Rage Blade, plus the Nashor's Tooth done for Kayle, and Bloodthirster Brutalizer for Jace.
Evil Geniuses are playing very, very smart now. For 20 minutes, we've just seen them pushing lane, but like individually, you know, they've been forcing Dragonborns to react to their aggression, and Dragonborns aren't really committing too many members to counter-pushing these lanes. So because they've lost that early map control and they lost early towers, it means they're falling a little bit further behind the longer this game goes. We're talking about Wicked's Renekton, and we touched on it as the game starts. Wicked has not played a mana-based champion once in the LCS now. He's played a Kali twice.
Doesn't like mana.
Yeah, it doesn't like mana. Kali twice and Shen. So 2 ninjas. I was making jokes saying it would be awesome if he played a 3rd ninja, but he played Renekton, just cool down, you know, rage-dependent champion, so, or Fury rather. So interesting that he's playing slightly non-mana based champs.
As we see that, the dragon was taken away by Evil Geniuses. They lost that last one, so that's another big pickup for them after losing the last one. They got the timer down it, however, and they were able to pick this one up. The question is here, can they defend this middle turret? The minion wave made short work of there by 4 of them, and that's a good sign for them. They should be able to hold onto this turret without too many problems.
The amount of wave clear that they've got, AoE, you know, AoE damage from every single one of their champions, even Sona to a lesser extent, if she starts throwing out her Qs, you know, hit a couple of champions at once. It's going to be difficult to siege towers against that lineup. You know, you're just going to get those the AoE splash from Kayle plus the piercing arrow from Varus, which is going to start hitting a lot harder now. You can see working towards the static Shiv as well. So it's going to be difficult to siege towers, but they do have Jace, which is going to be very nice for that the long range poke. If they don't get enough poke and commit quickly, Sona's just going to heal them all though.
Certainly some very interesting moments still to come in this one. Gold is sitting at a 3,000 difference in favour of EG. We can see that Dragonborn's there. Always scary when you're alone and you see that acceleration gate go down, and the sound of people going through it is more than 2 or 3 men. That's a good sign to get away from that one, because they're coming and they're coming quick towards you. Snoopy and Yellow Pete have defended their turret, and we see that the bottom outer turret has gone down. So I can now finally say all outer turrets down for EG.
Yeah, you know, that's just so much map control. They're crawling into the lead, you know, pulling ahead little bit by little bit, increased that gold lead to about 4,000 now, just shy of it. And the fact that they took that previous dragon just tells you that they've now stamped control on the entire sort of 50-60% of the map, up to the river and just past it. There's no towers for Dragonborns to fall back to. They've got relatively good ward coverage. You can see some vision there around the river entrances of the DB players. And you know, Dragonborns, they've just got defensive wards. They have no idea what Evil Geniuses are doing on their side of the map. And they're playing reactionary. They need to make something happen. They need to push a tower, or they need to pick a fight on Dragon to be able to close this gap that EG is pulling ahead from.
Certainly looking very good. Looking EG style right now, EG. Yeah. I mean, this is typical Evil Geniuses play. This is the whole, you know, get your advantage and slowly but surely push that advantage home for a win. It's still open to errors. That goes without saying. I mean, this game is definitely not over by now. It's not just a long drawn out one-sided definite. This could still be won by Dragonborns, but it's going to take some brilliant play from them. And, you know, Froggen is just pulling further and further ahead. We've seen him falling a little bit behind in the mid lane as he goes aggressive onto Maluno. This could be bad for Maluno. We'll see how he's able to deal with this one. Will Shadow dash away? Froggen quite happy to let him back off from that. He'll take the CS that was there, put down some damage, and wait for the rest of his team to come around. But, you know, you can see the top side of the jungle, the ward coverage, they're starting to get good vision there. You can see that Crepo now got that Oracle Elixir, that 5-minute timer, using it as much as he can here to get ward after ward in position, clear out what's being put down by Dragonborns, just to give them that even more map control, certainly over this top side of the jungle, as well as we are going to see Wiki going on Spontex.
And we'll see very aggressive from Evil Geniuses. They come from the backside, put down the Rupture, which did catch Hosan out, but nobody else from EG decided to commit to that engagement. They weren't 100% sure where the rest of the Dragonborn's members were, so wisely they just back away. Wicked eats that shock blast to the face, and it does nothing. With the amount of HP and armor that he has, Jace is not a threat to him right now.
Yeah, that Warmog's obviously been finished up by Wicked on the last time. I think he might have even bought it outright. I don't remember seeing the different parts of that Warmog actually being picked up there, but we are going to see EG now coming in towards his inner middle turret, and you can see that Dragonborn's not really able to do too much about it. His mover going to get hit there. We are seeing Froggen up on that top side as well, being engaged upon by Spontex, but the rest of EG coming in. Spontex going to try and get away. He'll flash over in towards his base. No kills coming down from that one, even though Shushe did fall very low. Mover obviously did die on the right-hand side on the tower.
Yeah, you know, it was just Evil Geniuses once again saying, look, we've got enough damage and we've got enough crowd control that even if somebody gets targeted by the turret for an extended period of time, just throw that intervention onto them, prevent the damage, block it out, and carry on pushing. So, you know, smart play from EG. They're just using every single strength that their team comp has to their advantage. And interestingly, look at the upgrade, the tier 3 upgrade for Froggen's Kale. He's decided to go for the Fura, which gives him the movement speed buff as Dragonborns contest.
Hosan getting hit by the crescendo. Baron has been picked up here by EG. What can Dragonborns do? They're doing decent damage in here, but you see Spontex just being absolutely destroyed. Hosan now going through. This is dangerous for EG. Jace getting involved in it. Wicked going to get knocked away. The Rupture will land onto Maluno. Will EG turn and fight this one? Yes, they did for a brief moment, and then realized that they had to back off. Snoopy goes down to Hosan. Wicked going to dive into the back, gets himself the Shen kill. They focus down Hosan. He will die up the top side. They've all just literally fell to pieces there, Dragonborns, as they came chasing. It looked promising in terms of health, but, you know, even just 10 seconds running away with that Baron buff on gives you so much nice regen on your health that you just turn around and go at it again.
And what great play from Renekton there. You could see Dragonborns was moving, and both teams moving as solid units. They were, you know, sliding through the river, getting towards that blue buff as quickly as possible, and Wicked just said, I know I can get that kill onto the back line. I know I can shut him down. Use the slice and dice, dive through everybody, and that caused the confusion for the Dragonborns. Hosan continued chasing. I said at the beginning of the game, he's an aggressive AD. He likes to be deep, you know, behind enemy lines, and that was what he was chasing. You know, he carried on chasing as the rest of his team got split up. Shushe ran left. Maluno got shut down in the back line. Hosan was, you know, up a creek without a paddle and got shut down, and an absolutely perfect fight for Evil Geniuses.
We can see there that Kale, obviously being played by Froggen here, finishing off that frozen mallet. So, you know, we talk about Froggen and his builds can sometimes be a little bit funky. You're not going to be able to escape from a Kale who's got that down. Look at that. Pink ward placed down on top of Spontex. Froggen losing no health.
Absolutely nothing at all. Started the fight. Pink ward down for vision. Intervention on himself. I don't know if Spontex even seen that pink ward was down. He couldn't really go anywhere, to be fair, either. There was no flash available, but he pretty much just resigned himself in that fight. Hosan's picking a battle with Froggen, trading a lot of damage, throws out the ultimate, but Froggen seems to be surviving it.
Now he could be in trouble, though. We see Shushe coming in there, and that is the kill for Hosan. But look how low he went. That was without the intervention, which it would have been a dead one. That's for sure. Is EG going to get engaged on here?
Yeah, it does look like it. The solar flare is out from Move It, but there's no attack damage to back it up. Hosan is trying to get back as quickly as possible as Shushe moves in from the top lane. Now Move It lands a very nice stun onto Yellow Pete. They're going to carry on fighting as Snoopy is up in the top lane trying to duel on Shushe. They've lost Move It first. Now Hosan is left without protection. There's nobody to keep him alive. He gets dropped low. The rest of Dragonborns fall. Shushe picks up one kill, but a triple for Yellow Pete.
Yeah, triple for Yellow Pete. That's just showing you, I mean, he's died at the end, but still, the power of them. Look at the health bars still on EG. Crepo didn't die in that. Snoop is full HP. Wicked full HP. Managed to get double buffs. I think it was Hosan who had the double buff on him there from that last one. So just an overall, you see the difference there between EG and Dragonborns. When they get into these big fights, EG can out-tank them and then out-damage them.
And also the focus is a lot better as well. You see EG, they pick one single target, jump onto it. So the in-game calls just seem to be a little bit more on the same page. Dragonborns move it. He threw out his ultimate, that solar flare, before anybody was even there. It was just him and Maluno. Shen and Leona, you're not really going to stop an inhibitor. Then Hosan joined the party late after Shushe came in around from the side. They came in from different angles, weird positions, and were able to get singled out and focused by the Evil Geniuses members.
Well, I think Wicked enjoyed being called Bricked last week because look at his build again. He is so tanky. 5-0-6 now on this Renekton. And people might think about banning Renekton out against Wicked here as he sat in that brush. Shushe just going around the side. Maluno actually comes in, puts a ward on top of him. Wicked's got the Oracle on, just clears that one out. Not even scared of Maluno and Shushe there. He's still hanging around. I mean, he's got Baron buff on. He's triple buffed right now. Is just too strong. They can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can do against the Crocodile. And even if you do, get him relatively low, with his ultimate, with intervention, it's just going to, be completely unstoppable. You've even got Crepo in there with the Locket of the Iron Solaria. So any damage you do put onto him, it's just going to be immediately, negated by so many different routes. Dragonborns do pick up a dragon, but when you're 10,000 gold behind, it's not a huge difference right now.
Yep, I saw Jason having a bit of a smile about that one, reminiscing on his awesome puns from before in the qualifiers with the Dragon.
It was something about a team kill. Yeah, team kill when they picked up the Drake.
No, but that's something at least for Dragonborns. Like you say, it's a lot of gold that they're behind, but it's something to give them a half shot maybe of staying in this game. I mean, it's 13-5 in kills, 6-1 in towers. They've got control of the entire map here, EG, and they're now pushing in for the final inner turret, which stands in this bottom lane, but it's not standing for long.
And something that I haven't noticed at all until this very moment, Mover doesn't have any boots at all. Ruby, Sightstone, Philo, and that's it. There's nothing else there. So the movement speed is very, very lacking on his Leona. It's only 335, so he's not going to be able to react very quickly at all. You consider everybody else in the opposing team has their boots completed with the exception of Crepo's Sona. She's going to throw out her Song of Celerity, her E, give a movement speed buff to everybody, and it's going to be difficult for Mover to land that dash and that stun onto the target that he wants to.
And you can see the difference that CS has made. Obviously, the 10 assists probably shouldn't be underestimated there either. But that Locket of the Iron Solari in there, offering so much to the team. And Leona's really got none of that, but she does have that CC to offer in there. So we'll see if Dragonborns can hold on to anything more. They've got super minions coming up the middle. Froggen is actually going to split this top lane off now, and they're going to be pushing with 4 men in towards that bottom inhibitor turret. Draven going to be the one that goes top, but we've seen it before. If Froggen turns around here, see, he puts the ultimate on himself, absolutely rips Hosan to pieces.
Completely destroyed. Hosan could do nothing in that engagement. Froggen not afraid to blow the cooldown and intervention, using it early in a fight, avoiding the damage, allows him to continue pushing and secures an inhibitor turret as the rest of Evil Geniuses now continue the siege in this bottom lane. Shushe thinking about picking a fight. He's gone aggressive on Froggen.
He's gone and actually flashed his way in there. This could be very interesting as Froggen not quite going to be able to escape from that one. But what does it allow? It lets EG put more pressure down on this bottom lane. As Move actually going to get knocked up there. Shen going to shadow dash right into the middle. Solar Flare comes down. There's a crescendo to counter. The ultimate came out of Varus as Spontex gets destroyed. I think it was nommed in that process from Snoopy as well. They focus in towards Maluno. Mover is still alive somehow. And now Jace coming in as well. But it's EG who pick up those 2 kills in that bottom lane and then take the inhib turret as well.
Yeah, they knew that, Hosan was still, he was dead from the previous engagement. They knew that Shusha was low. So at best, it was always going to be a 3-man defense for Dragonborns, and they just brute forced their way onto that tower. So no towers with the exception of those Nexus ones still up. Every single inhibitor is exposed. The mid lane inhibitor will be respawning soon, and Dragonborns are going to have to defend every single one of them with their lives if they have any hope of stopping Evil Geniuses. But look at that, 2 Randian's Omens completed on the side of EG. When they do commit to the fight, when they have Snoopy and Wicked behind enemy lines, it's just going to be so difficult to do anything at all.
Yep, and the interesting thing now coming in is Baron, who, as you can see in the top left there, is up and alive right now. And EG obviously taking that last one, have that timer down. Not too much in terms of vision around the Baron itself currently. So we'll have to see how that's all dealt with. You can see that Crepo getting himself in there. He's got a stack of wards after putting down, I think, 3 there. Has got 4 still in his inventory. So he's going to be stacking wards up all over the place as Hosan just has a bit of a peek just to make sure that Baron is there, because they can't really even afford to put wards down right now. They know that they're going to get cleared out as soon as they do. There are 2 oracles running on EG, so whenever they put either of these wards down, they're just going to be gone straight away, and they're going to end up in the same scenario, having no vision.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can do. Once a team can, spend a lot of money on those oracles and simply negate any map vision you have, you need to have that game sense, that 6th spidey sense, as it were. This is what they're doing. This is where they're going. Wicked takes a little bit of poke from that shock blast combo. It actually did a little more than I was anticipating, but still not necessarily a huge amount, as Snoopy's going to land this rupture. If it does catch anybody, they're going to be in trouble, and Mover seems to be the target.
Yeah, they've gone in on to move it. We are going to see Stan United coming in. Dragonborn's going to go for one, maybe last fight here as the ultimate comes out of Varus. Dragonborn's decently tanky. Crescendo comes across. Shusha is starting to fall low. The targeting a little bit weak here from EG, but slowly and surely they are working their way through. There's another kill for Varus. Triple kill in the end coming out for Yellow P. That leaves a very hurt Maluno. Hosan, who's in all kinds of trouble. Crepo going to flash over in there. Can they pin him down? Do they even want to pin him down? Do they care about pinning him down? No, they don't. They're going to go straight through the middle.
Hosan got zoned out and left that fight so early on. The Dragonborns had no consistent damage dealer, and they spent so much time focusing Snoopy. Look at the HP bars of the carries. Yellow Pete is untouched. Wicked is untouched. They blew everything they had to try and kill Cho'Gath, and you're not going to win fights if that is your target. So the Dragonborns forced out of that one. They've lost their mid inhibitor, and EG might try to finish the game up right here.
I don't think that they've got the damage here between the two of them to stop this push coming out from EG. At the end of the day, they're all 5 men. First Nexus turret is already down. Second one will fall quickly afterwards. Intervention put on there by Froggen. They're hammering away on the Nexus, and Evil Geniuses going to be taking down Dragonborns here to win their 3rd